Hello and welcome back to the Footballing Question. You join us fresh off the back of England's 3-0 victory over Wales last night. Not a bad result at all. We're through to the knockout stages, finished top of the group. USA also went through with us. That means Iran and Wales are out of the competition. Jordan, I'm going to come to you first. How are you feeling after that win?
I thought we were brilliant. The first half, I think there was a little bit of lack of creativity. I think that we weren't getting the ball to our attackers too well, and the way we were playing just wasn't amazing. But the second half we came out, completely changed that, and I thought we were absolutely brilliant. We were a changed side in the second half. I thought players that looked a bit complacent in the first half looked unbelievable. I think the second half we were a completely different team, and I thought we were outstanding. We dominated the first half anyway, so can't complain too much about that. But it was just a lack of creativity and a lack of the ability to finish. Obviously, Rashford had that great chance in the first half that, it forced a great save. So, but the second half we were brilliant. Rashford outstanding, 2 goals. Dedicated his goals to his friend that passed away. That's why he did the celebration. It was a fantastic moment for him, and obviously Foden getting a goal as well was brilliant and really helps the cause, because there was a lot of calls for him to start over Mason Mount, so that's really good. I thought second half, one player in particular that quite impressed me was Jordan Henderson. I think he was really vocal, and I think he was the captain without the armband sort of thing. I thought he was very good, and I'm going to put it out there, I think most of that team, if not all of it, should start in the next game against Senegal, because we were brilliant.
Yeah, they were terrific, and I'm sure we'll come on to our starting lineups or what changes we need to make for that Senegal game this Sunday. I do agree with you though. Second half, I think we were a different team. I'm not sure what it was. However, I also kind of think Wales just fell off. Wales were much more compact in the first half, and they did well to kind of keep us at bay and make sure that we were limited to our chances. Although, as you said, Rashford had that quite big chance. But Isaac, what do you think it was about England's performance against Wales, which was so much better than their performance against USA?
I think the one thing you can see is I've had time to digest the game and digest all 3 games, because we're at the group now. We can now look back on it in hindsight, and I think clearly, I don't want to overreact, but I think England might have a problem before we score. Like, before we have that opener, it's almost like we don't have the energy or the impetus to go for it. And against Iran, you could kind of see that. Like, we were making chances, but it wasn't clear. And then we got the first one, and then suddenly it was 3-0 in like 10 minutes. Suddenly we were bombing forward and going for it. And you saw that because in the first half, the only real clear-cut chance we made was that Rashford one, which was a brilliant chance. Then we just kind of passed it around for 30 minutes. But then we get that free kick, and then suddenly, boom, it's 2-0 instantly, and the game's done. And I want to see if we can maybe do well earlier in the game, because against bigger sides, not starting as well may be an issue. But, it's annoying seeing that energy in the second half, because we were, like, as soon as we made it 1-0, it was like Kane was alert. That ball to Foden is world class. It's a world class assist. And, the third goal, sure, it's poor goalkeeping, but we found Rashford in a really good position. I think we shouldn't react too much this game, because I think Wales are probably the worst team, one of the worst teams I've seen at this World Cup. Like, when you look at the teams which have been knocked out, besides maybe Qatar, I think Wales have been near enough one of the worst sides, or maybe the worst other than Qatar. Against us, they just kind of... Because the thing is, defending's good, but if you're not going to offer anything up forward, you're just waiting to concede. And they have Gareth Bale in their team, and he made 1 pass before he got subbed off, which is... Like, it's hilarious when you think about it. I saw Hugh Wizzy talk about it, and he said it was like his testimonial. And to be fair, it felt like it. Wales were playing a friendly, we were playing a group stage game. So I don't think we should overreact to it too much. However, I would say in the first half, our best player was Marcus Rashford, and in the second half, our best player... It was the only person trying in the first half, and in the second half, he went for it still. I'm really happy for him, because now we've got him and Saka performing on the world stage, and that's amazing considering what happened before. I didn't know about the whole friend thing. That's really big for him. Two goals for Rashford's good. Foden, really important for him to get a goal after, not playing. In terms of keeping the team the same, I'd want to keep Rashford in, because I don't think Sterling's too good. And also, bringing him in might step up Sterling's game off the bench a bit. I would make one change. I don't really like the kind of 3 midfield with Bellingham, Henderson and Rice. I would personally take Henderson out. And actually, Joel, if I was going to make a change, I'd rather keep Henson in than Rice, because I think Rice wasn't as good yesterday or against USA. I'd be more inclined to putting Bellingham and Henson together, to put Saka back in and play Foden at cam. But one thing's for sure, I don't want Mason Mount starting another game at this tournament unless if we have every single attacking midfielder injured, because I generally think he's a danger to England if we start him again.
Did Mount not have a good game against Iran though? Obviously, he wasn't good for the USA, and I thought you'd go with that Phil Foden in cam position. I just worry that Phil Foden, I don't know, maybe because okay, he plays as false nine for City, but this isn't a false nine role. The cam will probably be preoccupied by Harry Kane dropping back, and you kind of need. It's a tricky position because obviously Southgate's taken it out of the side against Wales because he knows Harry Kane will drop back and Rashford will make the runs forward, and so will Foden. But I don't know, Mason Mount to never start another game this tournament.
I just don't think. I think he's very passive, and in important games like we're going to need someone who's going to attack, going to take more shots, going to take more risks, and that's always been my criticism of Mason Mount. And like you said, we aren't really going to have a cam. If anything, I think that's a strength, because Phil Foden, wherever you play him, he's going to move. He started on the right, he ended up on the left at times, on the right at times, because he's going to follow the ball. They're going to interchange him and Rashford. Rashford scored one of his goals on the right wing. They're going to move around, and if Kane drops deep, like you said, he can play centre forward. He could run past him and make a run beyond him. I think we should stop being fixated on positions, as this guy's only going to be on the right hand side, this guy's only going to be on the left. And I think that's most important with a 10. I think if you're playing in that space, just follow where the ball is, and then the wingers can react to you. But I think Foden's the perfect man for that position.
Sorry, to be honest, I was just thinking about it there. I wouldn't mind. I mean, this isn't about Mason Mount. This is where we would put Phil Foden on the pitch. I wouldn't be opposed to Phil Foden stay on the wing, move Rashford to more of a central role, and then dropping Kane back a little bit to start. Because, I mean, Rashford has played striker quite a lot for Man United this season. And he obviously has that sort of threat. So I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that, because I do think Kane needs to start, rather than being the out-and-out striker, which when he plays he never really is. If we drop him back a little bit anyway and make room for someone that like Rashford, or even like a Callum Wilson, for example. I mean, we're not going to start him, but if you make room for a more finisher sort of player, and drop Kane back, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. And that way you get Foden, Saka, Rashford up front, and Kane still gets to play.
But isn't that the strength of the side though? Because when you're talking about having Rashford through the centre and Kane maybe a little bit further back because he's never in the striker role anyway, but isn't that the strength of it? Because Kane, he kind of almost tricks the defenders, as if he's supposed to be so far forward, and then he pulls back so much they're kind of like, who do I mark? What's going on here? And then Rashford, because he isn't starting up front, Rashford comes in from the wing with his pace and tricks the defenders once again, because once again they don't know who to focus concentrate their attention on. They don't know what's going on. So I agree with, when we're in the match, that is usually what happens. Rashford, I mean, he was kind of up front and Kane dropped back, but if we start like that, I feel like defenders are going to be able to work us out. I did just want to ask you. Sorry, go on, Jordan.
But here's the thing with that. Surely after a while, teams are going to pick up on the fact that is what we do.
Yeah.
So I think teams will be more surprised going into a game knowing that Rashford's starting in a more central role than what it's going to turn into. Because nothing's stopping from Foden coming into a more central role, even Saka coming into a more central role if he starts. I mean, it's not his position or whatever, but I don't see an issue with starting it, because teams will get used to the fact that that's what we do. I
think, yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think I disagree with you in the fact that he should start up front, and I don't think it's a horrific idea. But I'm just more. I like the idea of Rashford kind of interchanging between the wings and up front. I think it just works well, and kind of like how Conor Roberts was just horrific for Wales last night. He catches teams off guard, and I do get your point. They're not going to expect Rashford starting up front. I just hope that. I just hope he's given the freedom he was last night. I did just want to move on though with Marcus Rashford's free kick. What do you think of it? Because when it goes in, I'm not gonna lie, I think, what a goal! That's an outrageous strike. Looking back on it, I think Danny Ward's had an absolute shocker. I'll start with you, Jordan. Do you think it was more of a mistake from Ward, and a decent strike from Rashford, or a brilliant strike from Rashford?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. You have to still put the ball in the back of the net, right? And that's what Rashford does. And as soon as we won the free kick that he was going to take it. I think he was sort of right there. But Danny Ward had an awful game, the entire game. So obviously, I don't think he made a bigger mistake than on Rashford's second goal and our third goal, because that was awful. In terms of this free kick, though, yes, it's a mistake, but at the same time, you can't take it away from Rashford, because he still has to get it over the wall, he still has to get on target, and it still has to go in the back of the net. So,
Isaac, what do you think about the goal? Because I'm pretty certain. I'm going to disagree with Jordan again. I'm pretty certain it was a decent shot and it was on target. It wasn't so far into the top corner though, and then a decently positioned goalkeeper would have saved that easily.
Yeah, like he's hit it cleanly, and you'd usually expect someone to go over the wall, and he didn't, and he went past, and that catches keepers out sometimes, but it's just such a big mistake to like overstep your mark and step towards the wall, because you should trust your wall and go beyond it and stick to your side, and he didn't. And I think if Pickford let that in, I'd be really disappointed in him. If any keeper which I would get that in, I'd be disappointed in him. Yeah. And I said before the game, watch out, Danny Ward's going to have a clanger today, because I think he's had a shocking season at Leicester. And today, I think he dropped 1.5 clangers, with the first goal being like a semi-clanger, because it was a good shot, but he probably should have saved it. And then the third one, it's just, I don't think any professional keeper should be. I think you should dock wages for conceding that. Like letting it go for your legs is just awful.
I think he did make some good saves though. Rashford's in the first half, and he denied Rashford getting a hat-trick on 2 occasions in the second half as well. And I do kind of feel a little bit sorry for him. Can you imagine his mentality coming on for Wayne Hennessy in that Iran game, conceding 2 goals, coming into this game conceding 3 goals? Wales, they had conceded, but only once before that, and Ward comes in, they concede 5. I do feel bad for the man, but that is just how it is sometimes. Marcus Rashford, though, obviously had an outrageous performance for England. He's now the World Cup's joint top goal scorer alongside Kylian Mbappe, Cody Gakpo and Enner Valencia. Jordan, do you think Rashford has to start against Senegal?
Without question. I think he was so good in the game, and he offers something. That my only thing is, I want to go back to the live stream. Actually, you saying that Rashford should start over Saka, right? I want to know your opinion now, because it's now a confusing situation, because what do you do when Foden does really well on the wing? Do you change up the midfield like Isaac said, or do you stick with your attacking guns in that sense? But in my opinion, Rashford just has to start in the next game, no matter who is on the other wing.
Well, here's the thing. Before Isaac, you butt in as well. Before Saka, doesn't get in that starting 11 against Senegal. What has happened is what I was trying to say. Can I just say that? Like, I was trying to say Rashford should start because he offers that running ability. He offers that running into the centre. He does have more pace than Saka. He does have more pace than Foden. And he offered exactly what he did last night, and he did it very well. That was my only argument towards it. However, I do want Saka on the pitch. That's the thing. I can't have Saka not playing against Senegal. So, yeah, I do think Rashford should start, absolutely. But in this instance, because before that game I was dead certain on Mount starting, that's changed, and I'm going to go with what Isaac's going with Foden and Cam, and then Saka on the other wing, and Rashford on the left, Kane up top. That's just my opinion, Isaac.
I'd go with exactly the same, because I don't think Rashford and Saka necessarily block each other out. And the thing is, both of them are very opposite in terms of the way they treat the wide space. Saka is a traditional winger in that he stays on the touchline, gets into the byline, whips a ball in. He's a creative player, and he can score goals, as he's proved this season. He's scoring more for Arsenal this season. But he's not a traditional goal-scoring winger. He's very creative. And Rashford is very much the opposite, and that he will cut inside or make runs into the box and get on the end of things. And I like the fact that they are like the opposite of each other, and I think that's why they should both be on the pitch at the same time. And Rashford traditionally has come in from the left, Saka traditionally comes in from the right. They don't block each other out, and I think playing Foden in the 10 space is fine, because realistically him and Saka can just interchange in the middle of the game. Saka might interchange with Rashford during the middle of the game. Like, I just want a free-flowing attack. It's just about them being on the pitch, because I think they are the youngest kind of bright sparks in this team. It's weird saying Rashford's a young bright spark. He's been a young bright spark for about 6 years, but he still is, I guess. But yeah, I just want to have that 2 pivot in midfield, just to kind of keep things simple and let us free flow. Whether or not that changes in the quarterfinal when we play France, probably. If we win, we'd probably play France. Realistically, that's what I'm guessing. That would be interesting, and I could see us switching back to a 5, which is what I've said all along. But yeah, I just think Saka has to be on that pitch purely because other than him, I don't see a pure winger. Like Foden isn't exactly the same as Saka in terms of how he treats. Like he really keeps on that touchline and the way he beats fullbacks week in, week out in the best league in the world, and I don't think anyone's as good as him as doing that. And I think those 3 being on the pitch guarantees that England are going to go for it a lot more.
With what Southgate said before, I'm wondering if Southgate will employ that, because obviously he said he doesn't think Foden can play centrally, or whatever. I don't know the exact quote, but that's basically what he said, right? So with that in mind, do you guys think that he will go with Foden on the wing again after that performance, or because I think if he drops Foden in the next game, right? I mean, if he starts Saka in the next game, he'll probably end up dropping Foden.
I mean, I think Saka's more important to England than Foden is. I think if it was the choice of Foden or Saka, I'd start Saka every day of the week. He's got a man of the match, and I think like nearly a half of his England games, which is a joke. He just got Player of the Year for England. To drop him, I think would be a disgrace. It would be a mistake to kind of call on his USA performance, because at the end of the day, no one was good against USA. Do we drop the whole team from the USA game? And at the same time, it would be bad to react too much to the Wales game, because like I've said, they're probably one of the worst sides in this tournament. And, I think you react to the Rashford performance, because I think Sterling, sure, he got his goal against Iran, but who didn't? And I think Rashford offers something that Sterling doesn't, in that he's much more of a goal scorer, and Sterling is kind of, I don't know, I want putting Rashford in to get a reaction out of Sterling. I think, you'd hope for that. And I think with Foden, I would rather play him centrally, but if he doesn't want to do that, I think Saka has to play, because I just think I just don't see how he doesn't get into this team, purely because he's just such a top class traditional winger. And you said, let's be realistic here. It's Foden or Saka. Then let's be realistic. And Kane's not going to play at number 10, is he? Like,
I do agree.
Mason Mount coming in. That allows Mason Mount to come back in. I think if he does that, Mason Mount comes back in, and that's just one of the prices.
If he does that, I don't think Mason Mount comes back in. Just start Maddison out of nowhere. Joel, that's the thing I'm really annoyed about.
Yeah.
He brought on so many players last night who hadn't played a game. Maddison does not come on.
Maddison was injured though, wasn't he? Like he was
on the bench. The only person not on the bench was Ben White for illness. Maddison was there. He could have brought him on, but he didn't.
Well, regardless, boys, I think we could talk about the England tactics all day long, but we got to have a prediction for the Senegal game. Isaac, you got it spot on against Wales, 3-0, perfect. Me and Jordan went 2-0, so well done, Isaac. What are you going for the Senegal game?
Let's see if if my little Mystic Meg moment can come back again. I'm just going to think about it. I'm going to say 3-1, but we're going to go a goal down.
I'm going to say 2-1, and we will go a goal down as well.
I was literally thinking about it as you guys were talking, and I 100% agree with Isaac, and it'll be 3-1. I don't think we'll go a goal down, but I think it'll be 3-1, yeah.
To get the edge, I'm going to predict it's going to be Kalidou Koulibaly from a corner.
That has been the Footballing Questions reaction to England's win against Wales. Make sure you're back here on Monday for not only just before a big episode about to come out. We've got a special guest coming onto the channel, but also our England reaction. A lot of big things happening over this World Cup, so stick around, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.